Hey, what's going on, GVA Official? This is MagicPeople, and I'm bringing you a commentary about my first impressions and my experiences with Gears of War 3. Now, before I get into anything, I know that time is very valuable, and this is going to be a bit of a long commentary. So the time you see on the screen right now, that is going to be when I start talking about a secondary topic, and the first half of this commentary is going to be specifically about whether you should buy Gears of War 3, my impressions on the game, and the replay value in my opinion. So that being said, let's jump right into it, and the first thing I'm going to touch on is the campaign. Now, I'm sure any of you who are kind of serious about Gears of War, you're already very familiar with this. You've probably played the first two, so yeah, I don't need to explain too much to you guys specifically, but I want to talk more towards the guys who play Call of Duty primarily, and maybe they just got really into Black Ops, or maybe they jumped on at the end of Modern Warfare 2, and they haven't really maybe played Gears of War before, and it's definitely not as popular as a title compared to either of the Call of Duty games, and that's fine. But the campaign has a very gripping story, and in terms of whether it's worth the 60-odd bucks, depending on what country you're from, on the campaign alone, I don't want to say entirely, but it does have a good story. It's somewhat predictable, but it is still a very gripping, entertaining story, and it does tie off the first two very well. That being said, you don't need to necessarily have owned or played the first two to appreciate the story. It does make it better, it would enhance your experience, but I think at the very least you could read a synopsis on Wikipedia for either games, and you should be okay, and you should still appreciate the gameplay and the more of a cinematic experience when compared to other shooters, more specifically first-person shooters. But the big thing that everyone really is interested in these days in terms of replayability and the value of the game is the online. So the gameplay you're watching in the background is a very typical match that I would experience, and I am by no means an exceptional Gears of War player. I'm honestly, I would say I'm below average. This game I finished off around the center. I got I almost went about one and one in terms of kills and deaths and all that kind of stuff. But let me start by explaining a few things that I kind of noticed with the multiplayer. First off, I have a lot of fun playing this game. It's fun to watch, fun to play. I enjoy. There's just so much satisfaction in getting those kills with the specialty weapons, like the chainsaw or the bayonet on the other weapon. It's a lot of fun, and it's like, I'm not sure if anyone's ever played, I think it's called Burnout, where it's like, it's not just a racing game, it's a racing game where everything explodes. It's amazing, And there's some satisfaction in this kind of over-dramatized, over-animated kill sequences. They're really fun. Like, you can rip people's arms off and beat them with it. And the funny thing about all of these things is that every time you do one of these animations, you almost always get killed by the opposing team, but it's almost worth it. You don't care about your stats. It's just going for those crazy kills. So it's very entertaining in that regards. Now, big thing that I've noticed in Black Ops and Modern Warfare 2 is lag, and if you don't have hosts, you are screwed. Gears of War is a much more forgiving this way for several reasons. The first reason being that, unlike a Twitch shooter, you're not instantly going to die when you get shot. I mean, sure, maybe someone gets a jump on you, but you can jump around, you can get cover, so it's not the same issue in that regards. And even more so on top of that, Gears of War 3 has dedicated servers. So what that means is that it's not being run off of an individual's Xbox who has some Walmart connection. It's being run off of a central server that everyone has the same connection to, basically, and then the only variable then becomes your individual connection. So if you have a crap connection, you still may experience some latency issues with Gears of War. But if your connection's good, then more often than not, you should experience quality gameplay. That being said, if you're watching this gameplay, you may notice the odd times where people kind of jump around. I want to attribute that to just kind of maybe them panning out some things on the server side. It isn't perfect just yet. Some people have said they never experienced lag. I've had good games where I haven't seen anything, and other times I see the odd twitch here and there. And I'm on a university connection, so I'm pretty confident it's not my service provider. So now, what else is there to talk about? I talked about the weapons, I talked about the gameplay. Replayability. So, Horde mode is a particularly fun game. They have a lot of cool extras where you can buy things and fortify your area. I haven't played that too much, but it is very entertaining, and that is something that is very, very fun to do with friends. So, on that note, I want to talk to the COD players specifically for a moment. So, if you're deciding whether or not you want to buy Gears of War, the biggest thing to me was, okay, well, I'm not very good at third-person shooters. Am I going to have fun? And to be honest, the frustrating thing is that, you know, you'll have the shotgun, you'll be duking it out with someone point blank, and because it's an over-the-shoulder perspective, it's not as precise as looking down the sights of a weapon like Black Ops or Call of Duty in general. So I feel like I'm shooting this guy, and they just run up to me, and one shot, my body explodes. That can be very frustrating. And that, I think, would be the biggest thing that would turn people off in terms of being competitive and enjoying the online experience. There's several things I want to mention that can counter this, and you may take into consideration if you're thinking about picking this game up or not. The first thing is that this game, even for the ranked online matches, this is a team game. There's nothing more devastating in my experience so far than combined firepower. So I'm very much used to first-person shooters. I love using the Lancer and the Retro Lancer, which are the two machine guns that you see, because I just love, like, you know, looking down the sight, so to speak, and then just spraying and the machine gun fire. It's very exciting to me, and I'm much more effective at that than I am at these run-around up-close shotgun kills. And that's where I gotta say the primary skill and experience comes through with Gears of War. I feel like the better players are the ones who can really duck and weave very well, and they're the ones who just can get up in your face and, like, take out three guys with three shots of the shotgun. I just can't do that, and I feel like many players who are kind of, you know, average on COD, never played Gears before, I think you're in the same boat as I am in that regards, in the sense that you'll come over and you won't really have much skill with that. So teamwork is definitely a way around that, and is definitely a way more fun, because each level seems to have kind of a stronghold that if the team were to hold that area, you have a very, very high chance of winning. But that being said, at the end of the day, is it worth the $60? I would say yes. I was a fan of the first two. The thing to keep in mind, ultimately, though, and this is where you can weigh your own options, is that for me, this has been really fun. On one hand, because it's a good game, and on the other hand, it's a break from Call of Duty. You know, I've been playing Call of Duty the entire summer and the months before that. It's nice to do something different for a change, and it's kind of refreshing. And I'm going to do Battlefield, and then I'll be nice and refreshed from Call of Duty right in time for Modern Warfare 3. But anyways, that's my take on the game. Campaign's good, multiplayer is pretty good. It's a game you can jump into, lots of teamwork, so you can play with your buddies. Overall, I think it's a good experience. Would I recommend buying it? If you have the money to spare, keeping in mind that there's going to be some big titles coming out in the next month or so. If you're tight on cash, perhaps save your money for those other titles. Now, jumping into my second topic, rather, and I'll try to keep this a little brief because I know I'm already hitting around the 8-minute mark, and that is some things I've noticed as a commentator on YouTube. And the first thing I want to say is, you see these amateur commentators, very much like myself, and you'll see on the side of their thing they'll have, like, 10 subs, 20 subs, then moving down 100 subs, and they have, like, little X's, like their little milestones, which is cool. It's nice to see people working towards things. But what a lot of people will say, like, you know, my goal is this amount of subscribers, this amount of views, to be a machinima director in a year, yada yada. It's like, come on, cut the crap, man. And I feel like so many commentators are losing a focus on their audience. And, you know, like, it sounds like something ridiculous to forget. Of course, everything's about the audience, because that's what this is all based on, is the viewership and the interaction, all that kind of stuff. But I really do feel like people get so worked up on getting subs that they really do forget the audience, and it becomes something else. Like, they're almost pursuing the wrong things, and they're not going to get there based on how they're doing it. And this comes back to when I was looking at my own channel. I was looking at people around me who I viewed them as having successful channels. They had, say, 1,600 subscribers. I'm like, holy shit, like, you know, how do you get 1,600 subscribers in, like, you know, a year? Like, I've been doing it for 5 months, and I'm, you know, just barely breaking 450. You know, like, it was impressive to me, right? But then I looked at their views, and they're getting like 200 views a video, or something around there. 200, maybe the odd one has 3 or 4. And I'm like, I get 200 to 300 views, and I have 450 people at the time. So that can make me realize that, you know, having subscribers isn't everything. I much more value my kick-ass audience that actually watches my videos, actually comments, actually talks to me, and that kind of opened my eyes. That being said, you're a fool if you don't believe that people who do this don't want to go somewhere with it. You know, anyone who says it's just for fun is telling you a half-truth. Nothing is more rewarding than having fun doing something that is successful. And to many people, achieving partnership or directorship on Machinima or some other gaming network is the success that people are kind of chasing. And I'm not going to lie, I'm in the same boat. I really would like to make something of YouTube. Is it an unrealistic goal? Perhaps, but it's something I'm going to work towards because I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying the ride. And what I've considered doing, which I think is very exciting, a very good way to interact with my audience and to give them something to do for me. Is I'm putting out videos kind of like responding to challenges, and not gaming challenges. What I mean is like, and I'll have a quick clip towards the end here of exactly what I did. So to get on Machinima, you need to go to Respawn Army on Facebook, and people need to bump up your videos. The system's kind of screwed, so realistically, the only way of getting someone to bump your videos is for you to go and beg your subscribers, hey, come on over to Facebook, come bump up my video. Sure, some might, but realistically, that's not a great way of doing it. Not too many people are going to take time out of their day to go and sign up on Facebook to do this. And I recognize this challenge. So what I thought is, what can I offer my subscribers, my audience, that one, would entertain them even more than I already do, and two, get them to come on over to Facebook and actually bump up my videos in hopes that I'll gain some exposure, if not directorship, on Machinima. And what I decided to do was I would take challenges from my community and do them, and just kind of demonstrate what I meant by that, because the most voted up suggestion was a setup video. I did the setup video, and then following that, I lit my hands on fire. And it's challenges like that, so pranks or dares or stunts, things like that, they would vote up, and in return, I will attempt them if they go ahead and bump up the videos. It's kind of like a give and take thing, and it makes a more interesting experience and something that's more fun for me to do as a commentator and as a video creator myself. But anyways, guys, I'm heading up to the 12-minute mark. This has been a ridiculously long commentary. If you've watched the whole thing, thanks for sticking with me. I hope that this insight has given you something to think about and something to enjoy. And if you want to see more videos like this, head on over to my own channel. I'd appreciate your viewership. I'd appreciate some new conversations. And that's all from me, guys. This has been MagicPeople, and I will see you all next time. Take it easy, GVA.